Hey y'all, it is February the 21st, and we're here. It's barely made it at least 10 minutes later than I said I was gonna be tonight, you guys, so you can already understand where this is going. Alright, this here broadcast, but I'll explain it to you on the other side of this brief song. This lady, because I like to start off, the show, of course, with these vibes. I want to set the mood, all right? And y'all probably already know, but so I'll see you on the other side. I want to check out this lady, and this is breaking. This is only a couple days old, coming out from our girl Trish, all right? So without further ado, I gotta let you know that it's gonna be the first time of us hearing this together, all right? I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be fantastic. I'll see you on the other side. All right, while we try to somehow pretend like we know what we're doing out here, okay? Is that all right? All right, here we go. This is Trash. Oh, don't start from there. Okay, all right. It's Trash, and I'll see you on this other side. I gotta get some coffee.
I'm having one of those days where I just feel like singing. My voice is not 100%. I'm showing off. I've combed out my fro. And let's do this. Oh, oh, yeah. Easy like Sunday morning, like an angel calling. He's taking me all in. I'm embracing him with my skin, like a glimmer of light, like a vision of life. And he's so perfect that I couldn't picture him if I tried. Some may come, some may go, but I'll follow him wherever. He's a perfect mate for my soul. I know why I lose control whenever I'm around you. Yeah, more than enough. It's like jumping in the river. Purify me, baby. Yeah, it's more than enough. Like jumping in the river. Purify me. Yeah, it's like summertime holidays, like it's sunny out all day. Whenever you smile, it's sweeter than mama's homemade. I thought that every man was made the same way, but in a world of smoke and ashes, boy, you're milk and honey, yeah. Some may come, some may go. Fill me up with your love, nourishment to my soul. I knew I lose control whenever I'm around you. Yeah, more than enough, like jumping in the river. Purify me, baby. Yeah, more than enough, like jumping in the river. Purify me, yeah. More than enough, like jumping in the river. Purify me, baby, yeah. More than enough, like jumping in the river. Purify me. Jumping in the river, purify me, baby, yeah. More than enough, like jumping in the river, purify me, yeah. Jumping in the river. love. Yeah. Happy Sunday, everybody.
That was Sunday, or I guess, well, she recorded that Sunday. I think it was uploaded, if I'm not mistaken, very recently. All right, here to YouTube. That was T. Trisha, the number one. All right, and she's slowly becoming one of my favorites. All right, as you can tell, we've been introducing her on this broadcast a number of times just because she never disappoints, basically, and stuff. I love the richness, the sweet richness of her voice. All right, reminds me of pancake syrup. All right, the molasses kind. All right, and not only that, just on a personal note, she reminds me of a lady a long, long time ago who I'll never forget. I'll never remember this lady's name, to be honest with you, but I'll never forget her face. And her, here's the thing, she was my teacher in some sort of computer technologies class. I remember we were in like a computer class. During that time, she was my teacher and stuff. She's a person who I never forget, just the way about this lady, all right? Kind of a similar smile, if you will. The smile is one of the best parts. If you've not seen the visual, just a smile to kill. Anyway, she reminds me of this lady, and this lady, I'll never forget this lady. And the most memorable thing about this lady is that she always said "my friend." All right, she always called you my friend all the time. And it's a good technique, especially if you don't remember people's names and stuff like that. And also just for keeping the peace. She would say, "my friend." And I never forgot it. And especially when she was angry with you. And trust me, I would make teachers angry with me. All right? And you could tell she'd say "my friend" different. All right? When you're really just pushing her buttons. All right? But she would always say "my friend." And anyways, reminds me of T. Trisha. And anyways, I don't want to talk about that for too long, you guys. I had T. Trisha on my last broadcast, actually, on Wednesday. But it's a broadcast that you probably never seen or heard necessarily. Because I did like 35, 40 minutes straight with absolutely no audio. Could be doing the same damn thing right now, to be quite honest. I tested it out. So I'm pretty sure that this audio is coming through. All right. I'm pretty sure of it, but I can't be positive of it. All right, it's a Friday night. People all around doing their thing. I wonder what you're doing, all right? Because if you're checking this out on the recording, what were you doing on Friday night, all right, at about 8 o'clock Central Standard Time? What were you getting into, all right? I want to know and stuff. Leave it in the comments, by the way. If you feel like you're comfortable to leave them in the comments, I want to know what's going on. What happened on this Friday, which is right now? What happened in your local area? Or just shout out any area, that you would want me to talk about. Because here's the thing. The reason I bring it up is there's so much wild stuff going on. There's no way that I could handle it, all right? There's no way that I could express it fully. And so I noticed that, we can narrow it down to certain areas. And they're pretty wild. You can kind of get a gist of that. All right, there's many different areas that we'll probably think about tonight as we go into the broadcast. Now, I don't know that audio is coming through. It could be just a sincere waste of my time, all right, right now, for example. Not a sincere waste because technically it's practice. It's always practice. Things like this, you want to stay in repetition. And so you don't want to get too far from it. But, however, if there is no audio recording, that'll be sincerely disappointing. All right? But, okay, so I played Trish last time on the last broadcast, and you didn't see it. And that was a pretty dang good song as well. And I want to mention we're even less prepared technically for this broadcast than we were for that broadcast, technically speaking. I accidentally woke up late, just to tell you a personal story of my last hour, basically an hour. I woke up late, I noticed, and I was like, oh man, I said I was going to put the broadcast at this such and such time. And I woke up at like 7:30, and I was like, wow, that's late, all right? So we're talking about less than an hour probably. A little bit less, actually. Woke up at 7:30. I was like, oh man, I woke up late. How exactly did this happen? For those people who do that from time to time, you wake up with just a hundred questions in your head, but mainly being, how did this happen? And then I realized, well, that's when I set the alarm for. I was like, dang it, dude. Well, I mean, I set my phone alarm and I set the alarm clock alarm, so I meant to do it. I did it deliberately. And I was like, what the heck was I thinking? There's no time to prepare. There's no time to do anything, all right? To get any, like, food together for, for later. No time for anything, all right? And that's what I was dealing with. I was like, dang, dude, should I do the broadcast? And I was like, I know some people be looking forward to the broadcast. I see y'all out there. And it amazes me. I don't know where y'all come from and why you do it. But some people jump on it like piranhas. And there's some people who get around to it, and do it on a regular basis. And I appreciate y'all out there. I'm dying to hear y'all's input on different various things. If you can even hear what the words I'm saying right now is. Hopefully you can. Okay. Alright, but so meanwhile, like I said, just extreme lack of preparedness. I was barely able to get my coffee together. Luckily, I got the coffee together, and it's tasting just freaking delicious. Alright, really, really on point. Alright, so, but like I said, we're not very prepared, but I do have some announcements. It is necessary that I came on. In fact, I see somebody in the building, alright, and I beg of you, who's ever in the building, I mean, maybe you don't hear what I'm saying anyways, but I beg of you, leave a comment. Let me know if you hear what I'm saying, or if you don't. And if you don't hear what I'm saying, I don't expect you to write me back the message that I'm expecting, because you don't hear what I'm saying. I don't want to get caught up on it too much, but I'm dying to hear just a comment. Just put a number one. Put a number one in the comment section if you can hear what I'm saying. And then we'll continue with confidence up in this mode. But in the meantime, even with the lack of preparedness, which I completely explained, you can check it out on the recording, but even with the lack of preparedness that we got going forth, I noticed that I did recruit some screenshots, and that's pretty awesome. All right. For number one, I gotta let you know and put you onto the macho madness that's about to take forth, or whatever. It's about to take place up in this building. The macho madness. See, that's what people are saying. They change the words around. They play with language, right? They call it political correctness. Back in the early 90s, it was called macho madness, all right? So get it right. I want you to get it right. And please, if you're in the building, let me know up in the comment section that you can hear me. I'm going to be checking on the comments. Makes me paranoid. Real paranoid. But that's the thing. If you saw that there was no audio and that we're going through these screenshots like this, we're doing things, and you heard that there was no audio, of course you would leave a comment out of the goodness of your heart, and you'd say, hey, look, you're totally effing up right now, okay? So, but just assuming that we're not effing up right now. All right, I want to take it to this. We're just going to dive into it. I want to explain something that I've explained many, many a times before. For those who don't know, San Antonio is a certain kind of city, and a lot of people heard of it around the world, man. It's like, I don't mean to brag, but they have for different various reasons. And one reason in particular would be the Alamo, a long time ago, right? Point blank in your face, remember the Alamo, if you ever heard of San Antonio. And so that'll basically tell you all you need to know about San Antonio. And it's kind of ingrained. There is blood spilled in the soil. I don't know if it's scientific, but it got in the soil, and then it just kind of burned a fire in people's hearts, right? I guess, and it doesn't really make sense every time. I'm here to tell you about San Antonio. It doesn't make sense every time. Case in point, the rampant diabetes happening in San Antonio. We've been taken over, right, by sugar, getting us with the diabetes. And it's in fact, I think we got a screenshot of that. But anyways, we'll talk about the diabetes later. But meanwhile, there's a rich culture and a history, a rich culture and a history, and people with it in their blood, coming down from San Antonio, coming down from the Alamo, and things of that nature. All right. That all being said, San Antonio is a certain kind of way, almost looking like Austin as of late. All right. For example, there's been illegal immigration, obviously, ever since I can remember, and before then, illegal immigration. Everybody knows that. But not only that, it seems almost to be a lenience on it, or a halfway lenience on it, necessarily. Like, for example, people might talk about. Hold on, let me check the comments, make sure we're coming in. Ah, yeah, we got Paul in the building. Hey, Paul, let me know what's happening all up in your area, or what you want to know about certain areas, or we can Google it. All right, we could do it on the fly, Paul, and that's what we plan to do. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate you. Now I know that I'm coming in. All right. But anyways, like I was saying, certain kind of culture, and it's for better or for worse. Like I said, there's the diabetes up in San Antonio, and probably the same in your area. I would like to know, but a rampant ignorance, an unquenchable ignorance of politics in San Antonio. Most people have not one single clue. All right, for the most part, there's a lot of people up in San Antonio and the surrounding areas. Absolutely, positively clueless when it comes to politics. But to be even more specific, to go even further, just like I imagine a lot of other areas are, there's still a lot of people who's clamoring over who might be the president or not. Right? People definitely have an opinion on that. Right? Most people in San Antonio do not know the name of the mayor. Right? And didn't care less about the election of the mayor. And but still, they're still gonna gossip over who might be the president. See, they have an idea what's going on there, right? So speaking of that, San Antonio has been a Democrat stronghold since I can remember. Before I can remember, it's definitely been taken over by Democratic leaning type politicians, right? And it got so shameful, I guess, to as of recently, they don't even refer to themselves as Democrats no more, right? In fact, they just go no party. Like, that's how embarrassing the Democrats are. Is even though they are Democratic, they don't even use the name no more. Anyways, so you get the idea that it's some sort of Democratic stronghold, which it is. Right? They took over a long time ago. And what I've been theorizing is they're stealing the elections, and they've been doing it. In fact, we haven't had a real candidate. I mean, like a candidate for change. We haven't had one of those in a long, long time. In fact, I was actually surprised and shocked and startled, in fact, to find out Greg Brockhouse, who actually does a podcast now that I'm a fan of, but it's a very not widely known podcast called The Broadcast. I'm a big fan of it, and he goes out in the nitty gritty of San Antonio. He talks to important people. He's doing a very good, the best broadcast in San Antonio, I gotta say. And but the thing is, I got to meet him, this and that, and this guy's actually genuine about basically being reasonable. All right, not because they don't even care about party lines. None of the candidates are even claiming a party here as a mayor for San Antonio. All right, so Greg Brockhouse, he wasn't claiming a party either, but he just seemed reasonable, like he wanted to get that money, and that's all I'm talking about. All right, and a lot of people might take that for whatever they take that for, but I'm about getting that money, and when we get all that money, then balling all over the place, and in fact helping the environment and all sort of other things in our prosperity. Right. Anyways, long story short, we're looking at a screenshot right now, and it's dealing with a certain kind of thing. You might have read it. Let's read a little bit of it. Sitting atop the heap. And what they're talking about, and I didn't take a picture of the headline, is they're talking about contributions to the president of the United States to candidates in San Antonio and surrounding areas, to include New Braunfels. And they're talking about just, I guess, I don't know how they get the number. I don't know how they get it, but somehow they find out the number, political contributions, right? So sitting atop the heap overall, however, is President Donald Trump with 2.3 million. 2.3 million, and they're describing out of 6 million, which honestly, that's not a lot of money considering all of San Antonio, but that's the amount of money that's been contributed thus far, 6 million. Or wait, no, no, my bad. Okay, no, it's not 6 million, it's 4 million, so that's even less. That just goes to show you, but that's only this far. You can imagine there's still going to be more contributions in the future coming from San Antonio citizens, but 4 million. All right. Donald Trump has what? 2.3 million. Okay. So consider those numbers. Out of all the 4 million that's basically been estimated to be given to presidential candidates across the country, Donald Trump's got over half that. All right. So that'll give you an idea. Like I said, this city, whether or not it knows it or not, deeply Republican in essence. And we know exactly what Rhino Republicans is, and that's why nobody cares about politics. Technically, everybody was turned off from it. From all the disgusting Republicans and Democrats from the past that did nothing and promised nothing, and they looked like nothing, and they smelled like nothing, and they were nothing burgers. The San Antonio citizens got sick of the politics. And they started balling out of control in all sort of different ways, but then they also got diabetes from eating too much Big Red and barbacoa. All right, so they got so much diabetes and this and that, and there's some downfalls in San Antonio. But at the end of the day, about the guns, nah, it's not gonna happen with the guns in San Antonio just because it's in the culture. The blood got spilled on the soil. It's scientific. I don't know. They're not gonna let go of that. And also, they kind of lean Republican if you were to think about it. In essence, right? And if you wanted to see an actual graph that looked it, so if you were concerned about how that looks, well, there's a graph. There's a graph of it. Donald Trump got that whopping 2.3 million in contributions in a so-called Democratic city, right? Julian Castro, largely unheard of. You might remember when he said that he wanted men to get abortions now and stuff, and he wanted that tax paid for by the taxpayer. You might remember him from that old BS. Trust me, nothing that he's ever said has been any more coherent than that. Right? Like, and he's sincerely an embarrassment, and he's like a child of San Antonio. And then when people think about him and his twin brother, they think about the fact they came from San Antonio or something like that. And it's just like a damn embarrassment. And he came up second. He came up second in this whole deal. All right? And look at it, it's not even close. It's not even close to close. All right? You're not dealing in the same league. Donald Trump's in the big league. All right? San Antonio is speaking for itself. Here's the thing. If I'm speaking very simply, we're flooded in brown people. We've always had brown people more than you can shake a stick at, basically. A lot of brown people in San Antonio. That is San Antonio. Is brown people. It's always been brown people, and it will continue to be brown people. But at the same time, we don't necessarily need all these illegal immigrants coming through and stuff like that. It kind of makes things dangerous, not only for us, but for the illegal immigrants themselves. All sort of dangerous. Countless mass graves in the Texas desert. Just people dying all at random, never heard from again. Who cares? Who cares about these people dead up in the desert, buried in shallow graves, and sometimes getting caught up in, for example, the backs of trucks, and you find them. Sometimes, the air conditioning don't work, and sometimes you find dozens of illegal immigrants just brain dead in a sweltering hot back of a truck and stuff, and you find them dead all up in the cabin. All right, terrifying things. So of course we don't want that. We're not fans of that necessarily. Yeah, a lot of brown people, but I want to take a closer look at the graph itself, because you do have Julian Castro way back up in second place, and then below him is an even faker Mexican named Beto O'Rourke. And I can't even believe, but this is from San Antonio Express News. Would you please call him Robert O'Rourke at this point, dude? He's Robert. That's his name. All right, you can't just put whatever the heck name you want to on there. Bernie Sanders comes in behind him. And just look at the graph. I mean, it's very graphic if you got a chance. Donald Trump's way out ahead, like he's racing in a different race. I mean, he's just all off in no man's land. Julian Castro is way back here. Beto O'Rourke is like a little bit less than him, and well under half of that of Beto O'Rourke is Bernie Sanders. And isn't that a crying shame? And then when you go down to Elizabeth Warren, it's just a little bit less. And everybody's just a little bit less and a little bit less. All right. So that's kind of respectable. That's what you would imagine. But look at Bernie Sanders compared to a Beto O'Rourke. And dude, look, Beto O'Rourke, for as many people riding around in BMWs with their little Beto stickers all around San Antonio, talking about some weird communism, and so for as many people as there were, and trust me, I saw a lot of Beto stickers in front of a lot of nice houses, and a lot of, it didn't make no sense, but hey, it don't have to make no sense. And so I saw a lot of Beto stickers this time out. I really did. I really did. And then he lost, by the way, that little election he was in to Ted Cruz, right? And I don't really have no problems necessarily with Ted Cruz, right? But Beto O'Rourke, he lost. He's still getting way more money than a Bernie Sanders. Why is that? And I've analyzed that a long time ago. I don't know if y'all might have your theories out there. Why is that? Well, this is from dealing with San Antonio in particular. But my speculation would be that Bernie Sanders, although very popular, is still very popular. He might only be popular with, for example, young college students maybe don't have no money. That's why they're not contributing no money to Bernie Sanders. See, because they don't have no money. And they're trifling. But so they want free stuff, or maybe this like post-college people who got all sorts of student loans and they don't have no money. And they're voting for Bernie Sanders because they want the student loans off, right? But they can't contribute so much money. That would explain that. But also, he's lost his fervor in that. He laid down flat, all right, like a rug in front of Hillary Clinton, and she walked all over him. And this was a few years ago. And he did it in front of everybody. And he didn't say a mumbling word, all right, like a dang dirty coward. And a lot of people want to play that off or blow that off and say, oh, it's all politics. No, it's not politics. She made a damn fool out of you, right? Something else to say about that. It really isn't, and I would love to hear a debate. Of course, nobody coming to this channel probably would debate me. Most people probably agree. He laid down flat. I mean, I don't know how to describe that. And so, therefore, he's lost a lot of people's confidence, obviously. That would explain the contributions. He's way down there. And, you know, it's a long build-up, but I did want to make an announcement. And that is tomorrow, I believe. It is not set in stone, but I've made confirmation. There is a person who would be willing to give me a ride. In fact, he sounded excited to go himself, right? And that is to the Bernie Sanders rally. I don't know if I brought that up. In fact, I think I brought that up on a broadcast that was completely mute. And so y'all didn't hear about it. But I brought it up that Bernie Sanders coming to a rally in San Antonio, and I think I caught me a ride. I don't know how well I could, if I get out there, I don't know how well I could get it documented necessarily, but I might give it a shot. All right. But I do want to announce that Bernie Sanders, San Antonio, rally tomorrow. Kind of excited about it just because I don't believe Bernie Sanders, as far as I could tell, has come down to San Antonio. And if he has come down to San Antonio, it certainly wasn't in rally form. All right. So I'm excited. As you can see the numbers clearly, not many contributions. Whoever is supporting him is dirty bums. Like I said, and God bless everybody. I love human beings. Every last one of them. To exclude none of them. But say there's dirty, rotten bums. Who ain't got no money. To include myself, man, I hardly had no money. So I'm pretty much including myself. But those dirty, rotten bums who want all these free goodies and don't have no money, that'll be who comes out. Not only young, but also in the elderly age. I expect to see that out there, and I think it's going to be a good time. I expect to see it out there, and everything's very ironic. And like for example, Bernie Sanders is coming out to a place called Cowboys Dance Hall. All right, which seems like an appropriate venue as far as the size, what you can expect. I bet you there's going to be a few thousand people up in that mug. I don't know what's the capacity for Cowboys, but it's kind of ironic because it's like who's out there going to the country western clubs and also voting for Bernie Sanders? And the thing is, I had to argue that there probably will be a few. All right, and it won't make any sense, but in a sense it will, because it'll be Cowboys, all sort of Cowboys, I guess, who smoke reefer, okay? And that's basically it. They're on that reefer thing, and they think Bernie Sanders is going to help them out with the reefer thing. He's not going to do any such thing. In fact, he's never going to be the president. And he doesn't plan to be the president. I don't think he'd be the president if you let him. He doesn't want to be the president. But, so like I said, dirty rotten bums. But I'm cool with people. I'm cool with all sort of people. And basically, my plan is to go up there, and I want to blend in. I want to fit in. I want to be immersed because I've never been immersed necessarily. I've been on college campuses before, but I've never been immersed in such a way. I've never been to a Bernie rally, and I want to act like a Bernie bro. All right. I don't want to be a fraud. I want to kind of embrace, just for a part of the evening, the idea of being a Bernie bro and what that consists of. And then maybe, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen from there? But San Antonio is one of the most unhealthy cities in San Antonio, or I mean, in the United States. Like I said, we've been had that for a while and stuff. I don't know how we could shake that. There's all sort of diabetes and other various things. And I want to rattle through the rest of these here screenshots, y'all. We're gonna make it an hour broadcast tonight and stuff, you know. God, we just started. Wait, oh, no, yeah, we started early. I forgot about that, man. I'm still waking up, you guys. Trying to figure what numbers mean. I'm looking back at the clock. It's like, what does that number mean? Okay, anyways, I want to rattle through the rest of these screenshots. Maybe check out Google. I want to get a wherewithal about what's happening in your area. So you let me know in the comment section. I see that it's 2 of you. And I see that there's 3 of you. I appreciate you. I want to know what's happening where you're at. Sincerely, I do. I get the feeling a lot of people are hiding out, and they don't want to have their location be known. I'm not talking about your address, but, you know, your city or your state or something. We see what's popping up in here, because there's a lot of wild stuff happening. And here's the thing that nobody is surprised by at all, but it's a dystopic type of thing that everybody was just cringing at. They did not want it to come, but they knew it was going to come eventually. So for years now, right, people have been discussing what they call red flag laws, or common sense gun laws, or whatever they call them. You know what I'm talking about, but they've been discussing these various legislative matters for a long time now, and saying that we can't have crazy people having guns. So if I say you're crazy, you don't have no guns. But then they always wind it back a little bit. They want to make it seem just for everybody's safety. So they say, of course, we're not just going to be pointing our fingers at everybody and saying, take away their guns. We're only going to be talking about crazy people who are walking back and forth and muttering to themselves about how they're going to shoot everybody up. Of course, we're going to want to report that to the police. And so that's a red flag law. And so we call in the police. We say, hey, he's crazy. He's crazy. He's about to shoot everybody up. And I told you. And so I say, and then you come and you arrest him, all right? And maybe kill him, because it might be a confrontation. Basically, that's red flag laws. And so people said, everybody, to include everybody in San Antonio, said, hey, that's not going to work out, because you could just say I'm crazy. You could say, oh, I've been talking crazy and been acting crazy. How many people have girlfriends out there or ex-girlfriends out there who would definitely describe you as a crazy, insane nutball, all right? And they're probably lying. Or how many people have boyfriends out there, for that matter, who they would describe as stalkers and crazy nutballs, and people who just want to just mess with them. You know, how many people, it's like girls and boys at the same time could be called crazy by exes or whoever. Maybe a cousin that doesn't like you. And blah, 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 you're crazy now, get all your guns taken away. And they say, of course not. We would never take it to that. And we knew exactly. We never doubted it for a second. We knew exactly what we said. No, you're going to start calling everybody crazy and taking away everybody's guns. And that was the goal. And we see right through you. We remember John Wayne. We remember the Alamo. We remember all these things, and we're not going to forget it. And you need to forget it. Right? So with that being said, we're looking at, obviously, dystopia. Parkland father calls for Caitlin Bennett. If you know anything about anything, about anything, if you know how to use the internet, if you have what's called discernment, you see that Caitlin Bennett, she might be abrasive sometimes. And for that, I kind of dig her. I dig her style. Actually, she's one of my favorites because of her abrasiveness. You might say, oh, she's abrasive. But these people are walling out. You know, I don't know how to describe it necessarily, but like a lynch mob as of recent and acting all crazy. All right, you may say, oh, people, Nazis like that, who hang out with black folks like that, like Caitlin Bennett, all those Nazis, they need to be silenced and we need to throw stuff at them and just to make sure that they know they're unwelcome, these Nazis, and stuff like that. You're wilding out. It's not even close to reality. In fact, it's the exact opposite of reality. She's being driven around by one of her black friends, and I forget what the guy's name is, but how are you going to call them all Nazis? You're just calling everybody Nazis and throwing stuff at them and taunting them and doing the middle finger at them and cursing at them and screaming at them like some demons. Oh, I saw it at Ohio University. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, I imagine you type in Caitlin Bennett, Ohio University, and you're going to see a lynch mob of people going wild over this little lady. A little tiny lady, by the way, of very short stature, and just going and saying nutballs over it. This is the lady he's talking about. A little 5 foot nothing, like 5'2" maybe, little lady. All right, that's who we're talking about. That's who this Parkland father is talking about. This guy, look at him. You probably seen him before. Doesn't he look like something? Couldn't you just insert any sort of like adjectives? Doesn't he look like the kind of person who would find it in his heart to take away all your damn rights? And he has something to say. Like, would it be, the question is, would it be appropriate to call him a nuisance to America? And in fact, I don't know what you say. Like, I wish him all the best. I wish him a long, long life, much longer than my own. But at the same time, is there a legal way to ship him off of this country to whatever else country he wants to go to? Is there a legal way to do that? That's what I want to know. But he keeps going on. He says Caitlin Bennett's a crazy one. And she needs to be stripped from her weapons. So to recap, she just went to Ohio and anybody could see it with their naked eyes that she almost got lynch mobbed by people calling her Nazis. Meanwhile, none of that ever close to made sense. And they look like they'll swarm her and, in fact, perhaps tear her limb from limb if they got the chance. All right, she actually really needed a 7-foot tall bodyguard in order to make sure these people didn't basically kill her. So, and at the very least, rip off all her clothes. And you think that I'm kidding about that or exaggerating about that? No, not at all. They would leave her stark raving naked. They would strip off all her clothes in a front, and who knows where it would go happen from there. A nightmare situation is what they were. I mean, that's what lynch mobs do. All right, so that all happened, but luckily she got out of there with her life, and so did her friends and coworkers and her fiance, by the way. So luckily she got out of there with her life, and this guy's like, oh, she should be stripped of her guns. This person is the ideal person. Caitlin Bennett is the definition of someone who should be strapped down with all sort of guns. And tell me one thing she's ever said that was crazy, and so you want her red flagged, stripped of her guns. That's, I mean, case in point, it's a done deal. The discussion's over. The discussion's over. The discussion, that's over. I'm done with it. We've had the discussion. We're very good at debating. The debate is over. Y'all done messed up. And there ain't no going back from this. Like, you're past point of no return. Like I said, I hope you live a prosperous life, much longer than my own. Guy who I can't remember his name. I hope that you do, in some other country, this not never gonna happen. You pushed your hand, and you should have folded. Here's the thing, it's done. The discussion's over. You killed it. It's all over, and there's no going back. You're past the point of no return. This is like checkmate on you. This is checkmate on you. All right. I'm done with that one. Anyways, just gets worse and worse, you guys. For those who get the visual and stuff, man, I see there's 4 y'all in the building. Like I said, for the person who just joined us, point of no return. This is a point of no return. All right, he's done. He killed it. It's all done. It's all over. There is no more discussion. You are done and finished. And your whole we don't have to debate you no more. But okay, we're about to get into this, and this is even more controversial. I didn't even realize how hot it was going to get up in here. But it's even more controversial for those who are checking out the visual. I apologize. I don't know what I'm doing. But Fashion Institute apologizes for, quote, clearly racist show. I want you to really look at this, because this might make you uncomfortable. I'm here to tell you, it kind of makes me uncomfortable. I find it a little bit off-putting. All right, but as we take this in, suck this in, I want you to think about something. I mean, you already saw the headline, but I want you to look at this picture and just forget everything else in the world that you know. As far as politics, as far as, social constructs. Look at this person. What does this person look like to you? What does that person look like? What does this person look like? Think long and hard. And it's not a wrong answer. Like, whatever's in your heart. What do you, and you don't have to comment, but you could leave a comment. But what is in your heart? What do you see when you're looking at this picture? Okay. So now you had time. I gotta let you know that what I see, quite honestly, looking at this Asian lady, is I see a monkey. Okay? You might call me a little child and a naive child and everything. I guess so. But I literally see a monkey. Alright? And I don't know if the monkeys have big, thick eyebrows like that, or if it's a cartoonish looking monkey. But I look at the ears. See big old giant ears. Alright? And they kind of blend into her hair, so it kind of like, it makes it look a lot like a monkey face, how the ears blend into the hair like that. Alright, so big old ears, big old lips, human beings don't have their lips looking like that necessarily. There's some human beings with big old fat lips, but they don't hang open like that. And so I'm like, okay, well, it looks like a monkey. And I'm really being real with y'all. I don't know how much y'all thought about something different. I'm sure there's a lot of different things that probably came to mind for different various people. But that's what I thought about. So meanwhile, I just saw that, thought monkey, thought that was weird, off-putting. And they said it was clearly racist. Well, what race are you talking about? What race? What race are they talking about? I see a Mickey Mouse blow-up doll. Okay, yeah, big old ears. That's okay. See, that makes sense to me. I would definitely take that. Look at the big old ears. Blow up doll kind of looks like, because it kind of looks like of a perverted nature, and so I would hope Minnie Mouse, but okay, a Mickey Mouse blow up doll. I definitely see that, right? And it's cartoonish. Meanwhile, they said it's clearly racist. They said it's clearly racist. Okay, well, what race? I don't know. Catwalk label, blah, 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 BBC. Clearly racist. What race? What race is this depicting? Okay, so now we had time to think about that. It doesn't say. Now, I'm sure in the article it does say, but we don't have time to read it. I don't know who it's from. BBC? Okay, so we definitely don't have time to read it. But, I don't know. What race are they talking about? Okay, so now on the back end, we know exactly what race they're talking about. we know full well what race they're talking about. And the reason we know is because they are some hateful MNFers. And I know exactly what race they're talking about. And I don't appreciate it. And it's not, I'm not a fan of their thought process because I find it disgusting. But I know exactly what race they're talking about. And I find them deplorable, all right? It's damn ridiculous. That's what you got coming out of the BBC. Damn ridiculousness. I don't know what's next. Oh my gosh, it's even worse. I didn't even mean to make it so controversial, you guys. I don't even know how it happened. I don't know how it happened, but we're looking at something even worse. A 12-year-old girl was given a black doll with beads forming a noose around its neck at a Mardi Gras. And so, here you go, CNN. I mean, people need to go to prison, dude. I'm not saying who. Off of this, what I'm seeing, I'm not saying who needs to go to prison, but I'm saying people do need to go to prison. All right? And maybe CNN will help us out with that. Like, maybe there's some people at CNN who can help us out with that. Who needs to go to prison over this? Who needs to go to prison? Because somebody does. And I bet you anything, this story ain't even real. You know what I'm saying? I bet you everything I'm looking at. I bet you everything that this story ain't real. And obviously, people do need to go to prison. And I wonder who. All right, off of this stuff happening at some sort of Mardi Gras, this never happened. I'm here to tell you. You might be like, oh, how do you know the future? Are you psychic? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. People do need to go to prison. It's getting overwhelming. It's getting to the point of all insanity. Right? And not on our part, I don't think, because we're not panicking over here, right? In fact, I don't promote that at all. Trump signs, and this is the last of the screenshots for tonight, right here. And we're going to see if we can start winding it down and stuff. I wanted to get out of here early, specifically because I got my bike fixed up. I'm about to take off to work, but it'll be the first time. It's slightly chilly outside, but it's not too bad. I'll just bundle up and stuff, see if my bike works, but I wanted to get to work early. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that I get there in one piece and on time and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to end the broadcast early. I don't know how, I mean, we probably got at least a good 20 minutes, right, to go and see what exactly is happening in the world. Because y'all won't tell me. And I'm waiting for y'all to tell me what's happening. But in the meantime, we will go over to Google and see what they had to say and stuff. You know, we're going to be real lazy and see if they have anything to contribute and kind of offer up to maybe bolster our day and our wisdom throughout the day from Google. But before we do that, we got one last screenshot, and that's this. Trump signs order diverting water to California farmers against state wishes. Now, we got a lot of different cases that we follow loosely that we actually gotta brush up on some of them. Probably on the next broadcast, but we got a lot of this and that, and we got a lot of themes that we follow here as well on this channel. And I want to debate people out there. I want to talk to people out there. I want to have feedback about it. But one such theme is that I don't care about all this environmentalist stuff out there. A lot of people find me cold and heartless about it, but I don't care about it. In fact, I say get rid of all of it. All the stupid regulations and this and that. I'm tired of it because it's holding us back as people in America. As American citizens, we need that stuff. It's our stuff. So we need to use it how we see fit, basically, as far as our resources, as far as natural gas, as far as gasolina. You know what I'm saying? Getting that oil up out the ground. As far as fracking and everything else, let's do it. Here's the thing. A lot of people call me cold and heartless on it, but I've seen full well to know that we need to get our money now, all right? And forget all these other countries. Get up out of the Middle East, by the way. And I know that's one thing that people give grief over to Donald Trump, and I can't blame them because we're still up in the Middle East, and I'm very dissatisfied about that. But the thing is, you bring it back here to America, start digging up all the oil, and I'm a fan of that. You start doing all sort of things, and people will point their finger at Donald Trump and say, oh, you're trying to kill the earth, you're trying to warm it over and stuff like that. Obviously, they lost their minds. But on the other end, you had to, it's kind of hard to see the perspective of everybody out there to kind of get like a wherewithal of other people's perspectives and why they think what they think about the environment out there. But like I said, my personal perspective, the angle I come from is you need to get that money. Let's be very simple. Get all that money, get so much money, ball out, save your money, and then help the environment in that order, right? Because then you'll be very efficient at doing it and you can do whatever you want to. Because not only got all this money, you got everything you need to, as well as being self-sufficient. You start recycling and everything. You can really think about the environment. If you're piss poor, if you don't have no money, if you're getting carbon taxed into the ground, into oblivion, just like the Pope says, just like Leonardo DiCaprio once, just like Al Gore once, just like all of them and their constituency. If you're taxed into the ground, you're going to be so poor, you're not even going to be thinking about the environment. It's going to be trash all around you. It's going to be a disgusting place. All right, so that's exactly where they want to take it. That's why I said get that money. Donald Trump, he apparently, allegedly, looks to be saying the same thing. How about we get that money and y'all environmentalists need to sit down and just don't say a mumbling word. How about that? And just enjoy the gravy train that you're about to get bestowed upon you. And a lot of people find that cold and heartless. But here's just another example of there's certain things, practical things. Okay, do we go into Utah and do we start drilling for oil? Maybe we do that. Do we go into California and do the same thing? Probably not. It's regional. You're getting different resources from different places for different specific reasons. Okay, there's like obviously, and everybody knows it, but there's people out there who think Donald Trump, he's trying to ruin the environment and stuff like that, and so he's just, and they start having a meltdown. It's like you don't even, yeah, it's like you can't even consider the fact that there's specific things that he's doing or trying to implement. In this particular instance, he's trying to get Californian farmers water, right? And that's how deep it goes. I mean, the oil thing, you could argue, oh yeah, you're ruining the earth by digging out the oil. We're going to run out of oil. Yeah, I doubt it. I don't think we're ever going to run out of oil. Uh, just like you always have oil on your face, trust me, the earth is going to have some oil all the time. And so they're like, okay, so but now he's giving water to the farmers and the state does not like that. Oh no, I'm sure the state has much better ideas of what to do with the water than like, you know what I'm saying? Case in point, that's checkmate on y'all. He simply said give water to farmers and the state's flipping out. It's goddamn ridiculous, alright? And they're probably gonna say, oh, but the turtles will die. The turtles, if they don't get the water and stuff, the precious turtles. That's what they're gonna say. Oh yeah, that's the end of the screenshots. But isn't that, I mean, we're topsy-turvy up in this mug. I get dizzy. I'm not saying to get overwhelmed. Alright, hold on one second. I'll plug this in. I hope not to lose audio. And of course, if I did lose audio, I'm sure y'all would tell me. Alright, hopefully someone will pop up and say, hey, you lost audio. But anyway, so I want to go to Google. I just had to plug in the energy thing. Alright. So I'm running out of energy on my phone. And hopefully I didn't mess up the mic, which would then therefore knock out the audio, which I believe that is what happened on the last broadcast, in fact. So I was messing around with the wiring. Of course, if y'all weren't hearing anything, I trust and believe that 4 of y'all up in here, 1 of y'all would say, hey, I don't hear anything. And I trust in y'all, man. Y'all are the best ever. I know that sounds sarcastic. I don't know how else to say it, but y'all truly are the best ever. I really do mean it. Alright, so we're going to dive down and get our wherewithal before we get up out of here. We're going to see what's popping in the streets today, right now, from the best of the best, if you will. Democratic controlled Washington state legislature fails to pass I don't even know what the heck they're talking about. Sometimes some headlines are so damn boring. It's like, I don't care to read the rest of the headline. That's how boring it is. Okay? So, but this one, I see a big old sign right here, and that's of, that Prince Andrew, I believe. It says, if you see this man, please ask him to call the FBI and answer their questions. But it does not have a period. I wish people could use grammar. It's like you pay for that whole sign. And I get it, but it's still put a period. GloriaAllred.com, allred.com, GloriaAllred.com. I don't know what Gloria Allred has to do with it besides probably covering up some sort of stuff. Used to say. But GloriaAllred.com, I don't know why GloriaAllred.com would be. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But school bus stunt urges Prince Andrew to talk to FBI about Jeffrey Epstein. And that's what's pretty interesting. Like I said, topsy-turvy. They don't care what they're telling you. It's absolute over-the-top lies. And it is to get your children, to get your guns, to get everything else. They're going to look to kill you later on in the future. And it sounds dystopic. It sounds like, oh, that can never happen. That's what they're aiming for right now. Don't panic. There really is no need, but at the same time, notice what they're doing. They're looking at this guy, Prince Andrew. Here's one thing I can guarantee you, and it's unfortunate. Not a damn thing is going to happen to Prince Andrew, necessarily. As far as justice, like the legal system, that as we know it today. The legal system's never going to touch Prince Andrew. That's not to say he'll get strangled or this and that, or who knows what'll happen to Prince Andrew at the end of the day. But it's not going to be on a legal basis, right? And it is going to be all up in our face the entire time. Not only him, but Ghislaine Maxwell, who people couldn't care less about. Nobody gives a damn about Ghislaine Maxwell to give you, and she's obviously not going to be the only one. We're obviously dealing with a network, but I mean, for those people out there who just couldn't care less about Ghislaine Maxwell, all right? You know what I'm saying? If you can hear about Ghislaine Maxwell and just couldn't care less about it, well, then we already know what it is. All right, and so it's because of things like that you could put signs on buses, on school buses. You could put it on every school bus in America. Does not make no difference. No, ain't nobody gonna get extradited or nothing like that. It's just gonna be a complete calamity, basically. It's gosh dang disappointing, all right? But that's what it looks like in 2020. I don't know if I'm buffering a little bit, you guys. YouTube tells me I'm buffering, but like we were talking about earlier, all right, just to knock it out, all right, as we wind it down, as we get our wherewithal, and as we get prepared. Some of y'all might be getting prepared to go to sleep. I don't know if you might be around the world and you might just be waking up. But a lot of people, especially over here, getting ready to go to sleep. Getting ready to get their rest in and be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed tomorrow, right? It's going to be a very important day, I think, for everybody out there, but especially in San Antonio, because we're going to get ready and hopefully, like I said, I can't promise, but hopefully I'll be at that Bernie Sanders rally and I'll be soaking up all those vibes. Maybe I'll get some of it documented, but either way, I'll report back to y'all on that forefront, all right, and how ridiculous it is. But something we were talking about earlier, that would be Caitlin Bennett. That's this young girl. I would imagine you know who she is, right? And I gotta say, like, if you don't know who this girl is, I don't know. What's even the point? What's even the point, right? Why don't you get out of here? You know what I'm saying? And never come back. But okay, so if you happen to not know who this lady is, I think that you should get to know who this lady is, because we were talking about earlier. And it was that Parkland guy who, for no reason, needs to be famous, is untalented, is not attractive, and that's being very superficial. But at the same point, yeah, there's a big incident happening at Parkland. Yeah, there's a million questions that you're not going to ask, because all you want to know is how to ban everybody's guns, and you're a nuisance to America. And I forget what your name is. I totally forget what your name is, but still you're a nuisance. You look like an NPC. It's ridiculous. You're all on some sort of soy products, and everybody knows it. And you're talking about Caitlin Bennett all wild, like she should get stripped of her guns. Look at her stature. She's standing around short men. And yet still they tower over her. She's a little old lady. She could barely pick her face up. She's meant to look intimidating. It's like, no, she does not look intimidating. She looks like a very short lady. Who is Caitlin Bennett, and why did her Liberty Hangout promote Holocaust denial straight from Snopes? People need to go to prison. right? People need to go to prison. I forget who said it a long time ago. It's an interesting time that we live in for all our access. But somebody said a long time ago in the history books, they said, you know, it's like the quote goes something like, a person who doesn't read the newspapers at all, technically speaking, it's put a lot better. But basically, the phrase is talking about that a person doesn't read the newspapers at all is better off than a person who reads all the damn newspapers. Is better off. And it was one of the founders and stuff, I want to say, someone who's around there at the beginning, who said, you're better off not reading a single newspaper and not knowing anything about anything than to read all these damn newspapers, because they're trifling, right? And they're meant to hold us down. And this was back before the revolution, right? And you might remember stuff kind of bubbled up from there. And they were tired of all these damn fake news publications. It's not a new thing, right? It's been happening since way back then. So Snopes came on, just like, I don't know how many other people were probably going to pile on, and said, who is Caitlin Bennett and why did her Liberty Hangout promote Holocaust denial? An obvious attempt to ruin her life and any of her associates' lives. And we all know it. Okay, so that being said, fake news isn't a new thing. And that being said, people need to go to prison. People need to go. And I could debate about it, and I would love to debate about it. And I know that there's not a law against this now. We need to start making the laws. People need to go to prison over this. It's ridiculous. You're putting people's lives at risk all willy-nilly. And we already know all about you, Snopes. We've known about you a long time ago, but you're being used as a weapon. You are the exact, you are the definition of fake news that needs to be pulled off the internet. In fact, you need to be pulled off of society and put in prison. Somebody does. I don't know if it's the writer of the article or if it's the editor. I don't know if it's the person who runs the website. I don't know if it's the person who feeds the cats or whatever at your silly your silly little website. I don't know who needs to get arrested, but somebody needs to get arrested. Lori Vallow called flight risk in New York affidavit. Couple repeatedly lied to cops about circumstances. I don't remember about this lady. I remember some sort of controversy, like somebody went missing, and then I don't know what happened, but I'm not gonna get into it. Anyways, jury Harvey Weinstein's rape trial deadlocked on 2 counts, sent back to deliberate. Now, there might be people out there who's more closely following this particular case, the Harvey Weinstein. Obviously, I know it's high profile, and some people might be keeping real close to it. I haven't been necessarily. I've been loosely following it, and at the same time, sometimes I'll read some articles to read the nitty gritty, to hear the gruesome details. And I don't know if I've heard all the gruesome details, but we've discussed a couple of them. Just really wild, and it's worth discussion, right? About Harvey Weinstein and the whole entire case, right? But you know, I don't really care what they're saying because it's a slow-moving train. And to me, it's not sensational at all, just because when you look at how slowly they get their information and stuff. So I don't even want to read the article, but I want to think about these past instances. And I don't know if y'all agree with me out there, but looking at some of these nitty-gritty details, what I want to drive home is that there is a serious problem, and I've been talking about it for a long time, and I'll say it over and over again. There's not a bigger problem in the world, to include global warming, to include anything else, to include Islamic terrorism, to include Nazi white terrorism, or whatever. There's never ever a bigger problem than the problem of child trafficking, child sex trafficking, more notably. There is no bigger problem. The economy, nothing else. The environment, nothing. There is no bigger problem. That's what I want to drive home. Okay? Especially the sex trafficking, because I find it disgusting. All right? And I find it unaffordable to be on the earth. All right? And I'm dead tired of it. And that is the number one problem. All right? And you can debate me on it. But there is nothing else to think about. Not religion, not politics, nothing. This, nothing else. All right. So if we just branch off a little bit, come to the idea, and I know a lot of people have already gotten to this point long before me, but come to the idea that these ladies, whatever, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old ladies, get up into this world, and they've been trained to do so by Disney and everybody else for their whole lives, to look up to these celebrities. And they look up to them. They want to be that. They think it's easy. They think they get all sort of money, and it's just a trap, basically. We figured that out. All right, but they get up in there, and they wind up just doing whatever it takes. All right, and obviously, past a certain point, you can't even give consent. I don't believe in consent. I don't know what age it is, but certainly, certainly, you'd have to have some sort of maturity, all right? And it varies from place to place where you go to, but there's a reason. It gets very deep, but to me, there's a reason for having relations, and it is not that. Okay? So these ladies, they get enamored by that lifestyle. They get tricked into it. And some of these ladies wind up having very prosperous careers in Hollywood. A lot of them get kicked to the curb, and who cares? Nobody's going to believe them. Doesn't matter. They get used up in a sexual sense. It's been happening, and some people are so naive that they just can't wrap their heads around it. This has been happening since forever in Hollywood. Since day one of Hollywood has this been happening. Not everywhere. It seems as though it's getting more and more rampant these days. But it's always been happening. And that's not to say it's right. I think it's all disgusting. And I'm not advocating for any of it. But it is what happens like clockwork, point blank period. Right? And so now you got a situation of, I don't know how many, but dozens maybe. Dozens of ladies coming out, probably. And some to various degrees, accusing Harvey Weinstein of all sort of disgusting stuff and unbelievable stuff, man. Unspeakable things. All right, accusing him of things that are just wild. And I know I haven't heard all the details, but I've heard some of the details, and trust me, wild. We discussed it on some of the broadcasts. But wrap your head around this idea. These ladies, they're accusing Weinstein of, in essence, doing things to them that they wouldn't likely want to do before. That they did not want to do against their will. Making them do things that they didn't want to do with the promise of the idea that they would get money, that they would get prosperity, that they would get fame, that they would get a starring role in one of his movies. Okay, so they were made to, like I said, do disgusting things, and they described them sometimes to include getting all urinated on and everything else, dude. Like all sort of, who knows what they all did. So they didn't like it because it's disgusting, and it was against their will in order to get what they wanted. All right, and legal or not legal, they made a choice, unfortunately, and it was the wrong choice. And a lot of them got all sort of money and movie roles. Are they going to give back that money? Are they ashamed of all that money? Probably not. Probably not. Either they spent it up or they're fixing to keep it. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, they want that money. They made a choice, and they done did it. And against their will, they had to do disgusting things, right? Which might, I don't know, that might be embarrassing. Typically when people do disgusting things, afterwards they feel very embarrassed by it. At the disgusting things they had to do in order to get where they're at in life. And that's what happened to like a number of these girls. Meanwhile, if you turn it around, the reality of the whole situation is, for as embarrassed as you are and ashamed as you are, and mind you, it is shameful, you're doing the exact same thing to Harvey Weinstein right now, currently. The exact same thing. You're causing all sort of, because you're going above and beyond. You're trying to prove that he did something to you because, for whatever reason, either you want to get money or you want to get him off the streets because you feel it's not safe. Meanwhile, that's how Hollywood runs anyways. You're not saving anybody from anything, putting him off the streets, and you know it. You can't be that dumb. Or maybe you are that dumb. But, okay, they want to stick it to Harvey Weinstein. Meanwhile, they're sharing all these details that they didn't even need to share necessarily. And embarrassing him and putting shame on him, doing the same exact thing in public. All right? The same exact concept is what they're doing to him in public and saying that they're right. That's how mixed up this is. And meanwhile, what it is meant to do is completely distract from the number one problem that I described earlier, which would be child exploitation. Not your trifling. It's like all sort of words that I'm sure are banned from YouTube. You're freaking trifling, and what you're doing is running around, and you're taking advantage, and then later on saying, oh, something criminal happened to me. All right? And I mean, if that wasn't selfish enough, you're completely distracting, and because you're not bringing it up, you're saying y'all are the ultimate victims. No, y'all are not the ultimate victims. How about you give back all your freaking money and act like you have some sort of pride in yourself? How about you do that and then draw attention to the child exploitation that's running rampant? All right, because there's people that you could say, there's young people out there who've not made that decision, who could be given guidance. Meanwhile, you're distracting from that whole idea. You're distracting from their plight, and you're calling yourself the victim. And you're doing the same exact thing that you say he did to you, to him, all in public. And that's what it is. Right? But, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the note that we want to get at. We've covered all sort of controversy tonight, and I'm happy with the broadcast. But as we wind it down in these last 5 minutes, I don't know if that's the note we want to end on necessarily. And Google, of course, has, stuff for us. Of course, we're all going to remember the Mickey Mouse blow-up doll. And Google has a couple of other notes to share with us. And we don't know if they're even worth sharing, but this guy's got a funny head. Quaden Bales, internet debates whether bullied Australian boy is really 9 years old. This kind of stuff that Google has for us. Pigeons wearing MAGA heads. That's kind of stuff Google has for us. Roger Stone. Let's end it on this note. It's appropriate. Roger Stone. In fact, this is appropriate. I mean, because we brought up themes that are brought up consistently and repeatedly, regularly here on this broadcast, and will be done so for the foreseeable future. And that's the idea. Forget Roger Stone. I mean, you're looking at his face. It is a funny face. But if you take his face out of it, take all names out of it. It could be any name, to include Nicholas Cruz. And we're going to talk about that in great detail. I want to dive back into some Parkland stuff. But take everybody's name out of it. The idea is a concept, and it's a hard concept for some people to swallow, but it makes all the difference in the world, is innocent until proven guilty. Until proven guilty. And some people don't understand the concept behind that, and they think that might be risky and dangerous. There's people that figured out that, okay, there's always going to be political prisoners. Right? Or people with power who get you locked up, even though you don't deserve to get locked up. And it's going to fall through the cracks, and some people are going to be up in jail. You want to limit that. How do you limit that? Well, you limit that by saying you got to actually be proven guilty before we lock you up in jail. Right? And of course, there's been all sort of cases in which, they didn't sufficiently prove that someone's guilty, and then they were found guilty. And that's a shameful situation, but you got to assume that for the most part, you had to be found guilty. Like, it's got to be brought out in the court of law that you're definitely guilty of what you're doing. You had to be definitely guilty. You can't be halfway, people really think that you're guilty, because that's not how it's supposed to work necessarily. And sometimes people do fall through the cracks. But the concept is innocent before proven guilty. There's a lot of people who wouldn't like that concept and who disagree with that concept. I contend that they should get out of the country and never come back. because we need it so hard. We need it like we've never needed it before, because people are going to start getting locked up like never before, and it's mostly going to be political, right? And right, some people who don't like that, and also a lot of people have been tricked through the television and everything else. For example, if you have ever heard of people on the television, like for example Charles Manson or someone very notable like that, you've seen people being conveyed as guilty on the TV. There might have been some guilty people on the TV. That's not even the point. The idea was to drive home to you that they're the authorities on who is and who isn't guilty. That they'll tell you, that they'll be responsible enough to tell you so that you know you can be safe in your home who is guilty and who is not guilty. Meanwhile, it's been a device designed specifically just to convince you that people are guilty, and meanwhile proving nothing at all. This would be the definition of it. Like, just to be very simple, Donald Trump was acquitted on a crime, acquitted of it. He is not guilty of it. He was innocent the entire time, and now he's been pretty much documented as innocent, according to what they're saying. Okay, so Roger Stone, in essence, told a lie or maybe misspoke, didn't exactly tell the truth completely accurately. And it had everything to do with the crime that Donald Trump got acquitted of. Doesn't make any sense, because Donald Trump's not guilty of it. How would Roger Stone be guilty of it? Of hiding what? He's hiding what? Doesn't make any sense, all right? So obviously not guilty. However, the television and these internet people all over the place want you to believe he's guilty, and you already see through it. It's kind of like a benchmark. It's a watershed moment because it's something. It's like a Jeffrey Epstein. You can see right through it. Most everybody sees right through it. Yeah, he looks like a cartoon character. Yeah, he's done all sorts of shady things. But what you're accusing him of does not even close to make sense. And so that's why they can see through it. And meanwhile, there's people all over the nation who don't know Roger Stone from Adam, and they think he's guilty as hell. And they would just as soon watch him rot in prison. They would like to have a live stream of it to watch him rot in prison, even though they don't know who he is. All right, that's Roger Stone. See, I'm getting confirmation about the rally tomorrow. We got to get up out of here. But like I said, if you've ever seen someone on the television, or if you've seen someone you don't know their case, and the television or the newspapers or the internet, they said, this person's guilty. We want to tell you about this person. This person's guilty. All right? You know nothing. I know nothing. It's none of our damn business. All right? As far as Charles Manson, who knows? It's none of my business. How would I know if Charles Manson is guilty? How would I know if this guy's guilty? How would I know if Nicholas Cruz is guilty? How would I know? Because you haven't proved it to me. It's none of my business. You see how it's none of our business? And yet the newspaper still wants to make it our business. And they don't want to prove nothing. And they just want to railroad people and run all roughshod over people in order to criminalize people. And that's what it's designed to do. You see right through it now, right? So at that point, we can rewind and think about all the different instances in which we were told someone was guilty and realize that we have no clue. And the television and all them, they don't have no clue either. In fact, they don't have no business even talking about it, right? And that'll be it for tonight. I appreciate everybody out there. I got to get up out of here. And I appreciate y'all. Hopefully, I'm going to get some stuff back to y'all about that. Barney rally is taking place tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Hopefully, I won't stay out too late. And if I get some documentation, I'll upload it. Hopefully, I'll upload it before the night's over. And so that's something hopefully y'all can look forward to. I'm not promising it, but I'm going to try and get out there. And if I do get out there, I'm going to try and find that man Brandon from Just Another Channel, Just Another Brandon. And I'm going to see because I have heard that he's going to be out there as well. San Antonio, Cowboys Dance Hall. See me out there, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time at Cowboys Dance Hall. We got Bernie Sanders. We're going to go straight up communist. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. It is February. I don't know how to get this off. February the 21st of 2020.